here and rattle to myself for a minute. Get this cancer stick going. Okay. Well, especially, anyway, there's a lot of things to talk about, especially when it comes to that word Patsy. I mean, anybody that's watched any crime shows or anything like that understand a patsy is a fall guy, a front man to take the hits so the other guys can keep going. A lot of them, a lot of you are willing to admit Tyler Robinson looks a lot like a patsy. What you refuse to even, I guess, allow to be a thought in your mind is that Anthony Fauci is just the same. He's the fall guy. Does that make sense? The dude's refusing to answer questions, not because it'll incriminate him, but because of who it will incriminate. Does that make sense? Why an old sack of crap like that still wants to hide the people that helped him cover the truth up? I don't know, but did he have a major involvement in the initiation and spread of COVID? Absolutely. But he was at the top of these organizations before Biden came into office. No, he wasn't the head of the American, but, or well, he wasn't the head of the medical organization here in America, whatever, but Fauci, how you doing, Evie? Fauci absolutely was the head of many organizations before Biden put him in his position. And the whole time he was in those positions, Republicans knew about it just as much as Democrats did. They might not have been as in the know, but they knew it was going on because they had asked questions before. No, they shouldn't be questioning Fauci because he's just going to plead the fifth to cover for those that helped him. They should go to every one of his assistants and drag each one of them in and question them, and then their assistants. And you do that until you find out who all was involved. That's kind of how you get to the bottom of things. You start questioning people, not a person. It blows my mind how people can claim to be intelligent thinkers, but only think intelligently when it makes them feel good. If it doesn't make you feel good, then you know you're getting to the bottom of truth, because once you get to the truth, you see how nasty and disgusting all that is. That's why I like my little 5 acres out here in the middle of nowhere. It's nasty too. My Papa Curly made sure of that. Junk cars and all kinds of crap for a long time. He was an auto mechanic. I don't hate him for it. I mean, the scrap metals made me at least enough money that I could get through hard months, put it that way. But most of what was left was all buried under 3 to 6 inches of mud because this place, when it rains, turns into a swamp. How you doing, Madeline? And the next person, I can't see, I don't see a name yet. But Patsy's exist in so many places that it would blow your mind if you dug to the bottom of it. They won't do that. We know they won't. Because their friends would get in trouble. I mean, Donald Trump said that himself. Good morning. Well, if we released all the Epstein stuff, some of my friends would get hurt. So hurt them. I mean, if one of my friends molested a kid and told me about it, or I had any knowledge it was happening, that's one of those things, if you see something, you say something. And the fact that you're refusing to allow people to say something, that's just disgusting. I don't care how you want to cut that. It never comes out pretty. It truly does blow my mind that people are so willing to blame everything on one person. I don't blame where we're at on Donald Trump. I just understand him for who he is. Everything Christ is not, except of Jewish bloodline, put it that way. On his mother's side, the same mother that called him an idiot. I happen to agree with her. A lot of his supporters don't like that. I'm guessing they hate his mom too. I don't know. But we get back to Patsy's, and yeah, Tyler Robinson is an obvious Patsy. Anybody that has looked closer than Fox News can tell you now that kid's a Patsy. But, well, CBS is running the same crap, and essentially all media now are running the FBI's, they're honest in this case, but we don't trust them in a lot of other places. But this one, we just have to trust them. Okay. Talked some about my Papa Curly last night on a live stream. FBI investigated him after JFK was killed. I knew him as Papa Curly. Mesquite and the FBI knew him as Bobby James Normal. They come and went all through their little quarter-acre lot in Mesquite, all because he said in a coffee shop beforehand, well, anybody knows JFK comes to Dallas, you're going to get shot. Dallas is one of the most Zionistic cities in Texas. He knew that then. They hated JFK because, well, he didn't like Israel as much as they preferred. I mean, that's just knowledge to me. Listening to him talk about it versus listening to my parents talk about it, I understood exactly what he meant. I couldn't get my parents to understand that, but I can't get them to understand a lot. I try, but it does no good. Can't get my sister to understand anything. Makes me question a lot of times why I even came back to this region, but I couldn't leave family. And now I got even more family suffering. Not because of well, it will be financially soon, but a medical injury, and not necessarily an injury, but I guess a stroke and a blood clot, or a blood clot and a stroke. Not sure which came first, but so if you do pray, say a prayer, because he could use it. The left side's unusable at the moment, but that's his trouble today. I mean, my whole body hurts, and half of it's, well, not half, but a good portion of it stays numb and tingly because of nerve damage. So I get it. Sucks when you can't use it at all. I look at my mom, and walking is damn near an impossibility for her anymore. So, yeah, brain damage can do a lot to you. And just being honest with you, we've all suffered a lot of brain damage throughout our life without ever realizing it. You listen to the conspiracy crowds, and they talk about all the MK programs, that mind control. But they don't have patsies for all of that. Because, well, that's just conspiracy. Our CIA they would never do something like, our government could never allow people to be brutally tortured until they believe something. Fear-driven propaganda. That's kind of how that works. They beat you with it until you're afraid of it. And if you don't have a particular patsy you want to blame for this case, we'll just blame it on that whole race, because it's all of them. They're born that way. That's kind of how patsies work. You find something to blame because, well, can't allow people to blame us. And yes, the politicians are doing it right now with Anthony Fauci. Blame him. He's the one that made sure all this was allowed. He's the one that did it. He's the... I listen to some of Dave Smith, some of Tucker Carlson, some of Anna Kasparian, some of a couple others. And that's all they could wrap their mind around is, well, Fauci's just so evil. He's just so evil. I'm not saying the man's not twisted and insane. I'm saying look at the people that allowed him to stay in position long enough to get to where he was in a position of power over the people. Make sense? Again, Fauci was in high positions before Biden ever appointed him. Republicans knew that. But they still allowed for it. It works that way with terrorism too. Terrorists, while they may have evil intentions, are nothing more than a patsy for you to hate. I'm not saying they're good people. I'm saying perspective. You follow the money long enough, you realize where the real evil sits. And while there's a lot of evil sitting in high places, the real evil sways them constantly with money. With the prospects of making more money. That sort of thing. And then when things start getting really ugly, they give you a patsy to lean on for the people to hate instead of what they should really be looking at. It's mind-numbingly insane. It really is. Like I said, I, I admit I'm crazy. The fact that the world doesn't see how insane it is keeps me crazy. Because I used to be insane like you. I mean, I did. I was always into conspiracy, but I never was a tinfoil hatter. Now my own family makes fun of me for it. I'm fine with it. This is America, and they're not going to stop me from saying what I feel. They're just going to call me an evil person. Well, I don't hate Muslims anymore, so I must be a evil muzzy too. But until they can prove that, they'll just let me sit. The only thing I agree with Muslims on is that Christ is not his father. He is his son. Other than that, there's not a lot that I would say is proper in their religion. They do a lot of truly proper things. Some of the most respectful people you will meet face to face. And they will do their best not to lie to you. Can't say the same thing of the religion that opposes them more heavily than others. Because a little white lie never hurt nobody, right? little white lies are how you end up with someone like Fauci becoming the demon that everybody sees him as. Politicians telling little white lies here and there just so they can pad their pockets. You hear a lot of the Republicans going on about, you got rich off of this and blah, blah. Well, how many of y'all got rich off of Iraq? Because KBR was funding our enemies, and y'all were lying about it. And that was from the Republican Party, the party of conservative truth. So you want to talk about demons? Let's talk about demons. I'm not afraid. All they'll do is deny I exist. I prefer to call them cowardly lions. But I'm trying to stick to the Patsy thing. You go a little further back with Patsy's, and they're all over the place throughout history. I mean, the conspiracy crowds have been pointing them out for a long time now. And again, Christ authorized conspiracy when he said the deceiver will rule this earth after I leave. I mean, that's just a biblical fact. You can despise the Bible, whatever, I don't care. I've got one. I don't read it daily. I don't pound people in the head with it. I could, but what good does that do? Most people know the stories. They just think they're bullshit. They think they're bullshit because the religion that spread those stories is built on bullshit abuse. That's it. So yes, your religion is your Patsy. I'm doing this because God told me. Well, that's why I get on here and talk every day, or as often as I can, rather. That's why I started writing on Substack, because I was told to. In a very unsettling manner. It's called a grand mal seizure, and repeating phrases during that seizure. My wife got the seizure on video, but she didn't catch those phrases. She just wrote them down real quick. She's like, what the heck is he even saying? But she did catch the seizure, and I couldn't watch it. I tried. So I get it. But you get into the MK programs, and it goes further back than the CIA. The Catholics had been doing it for centuries. Come in, take over a village, abuse the children until they need the church more than they need their parents. and then you expand your church. They've been doing it for centuries. So yes, your religion is a patsy for you to do all sorts of things to spread truth and create disciples. That's not how you create disciples. If it is, wow, I don't know what to say to that because, I mean, seriously, that's what was done. But a little on topic and off topic, and you get back into the patsy of religion itself, and well, Muslims and Catholics in the Middle East still have a rather fond relationship. That's interesting. Because, well, they had that relationship while Protestants were abusing slaves. You talk to people about it, and all they want to do is condemn the hateful white man for doing it. They don't care who provided it. We hate you for doing it. Although I personally didn't do it. I found out a distant uncle did do it on my dad's mom's side. And somewhere around Illinois, he was known for having the best girls in town. And yes, that's disgusting. I don't have pride in that. Why the would I? What, because he had an awesome plantation that spread food everywhere? No. Because I know what it took to get that. And I don't agree with that at all. I mean, you hear my mom tell it, and ending slavery was the greatest thing that happened in this country. And I don't disagree at all. But what provided for it? You see, white men are viewed as the patsy in this situation because y'all took slaves. No, white men bought slaves, mostly from Spanish Catholics. They bought them from black Muslims in Africa. I mean, just pointing out the patsy in that situation. But you get good people on TV and on internet and ever talking about white America is being destroyed. No, white America was never a thing because this continent was brown before it was ever white. And that's just historically accurate. Just 2 miles as the crow flies from where I live now. Maybe 3. we used to walk around regularly through the creek channel. Every time it had a good rain, and we could find our arrowheads in the banks just laying there. We'd go out in the dirt hill where my granddad was digging, selling dirt. After a good rain, you found arrowheads all over the place. His house is filled with them. Shadow boxes full of arrowheads. White men brought iron and all of that. So it wasn't them that used all the arrowheads. Again, I don't hate white men. I despise what was done. All in the name of expansion and freedom. History is constantly full of finding a Patsy to blame and pointing your hatred at that. It's dumb that the cigarette smoking retard that killed himself is one of the few discussing reality that's just completely disgustingly sad. Educated people could never bring themselves to discuss these things, because not in public, because that's how you get in trouble with the government. I've been saying these things for a while and they haven't killed me. George Carlin used to say it all the time, and they let him die of old age. He said it on stage. It's all a big club and you ain't in it. But that was conspiracy, right? Carlin spread more truth than religion does, because religion spreads hatred without even realizing it. All in the name of earthly empire. It's really sad. They'll go and sit and listen to a preacher talk about not doing the exact same thing they've spent their entire life doing. Or you could go be like, separate yourself from the world, because the world is the Patsy that you despise. Look at how wicked they've become and this and that. And it's not what Christ said to do either. In his actions, he helped build houses. But in his words, he essentially spoke of being nomadic and going with the flow. Spread truth as you go, but don't dominate. Live in peace. Follow the law. So yes, religion became a patsy so that people could hate God himself. God doesn't judge the earth because he loves it. It happens mostly because people just find a patsy to hate and they run with that. That bothers me a lot. But it's something that'll never change because people adore hating their patsy. We can blame it on that, and that's what we run with. We hate that because that is the patsy we get to blame. Couldn't have anything to do with the ones that allowed for that to happen. We have to hate the one that made it happen. I don't get it. I really don't. Again, why is the cigarette smoking retard that killed himself one of the very few that actually understands this? I watched some of Professor Yang this morning. Had a really good piece on about bureaucracy and things like that. And we had a slight discussion in the comments. I'm trying to get better with this whole wisdom thing. But what I refuse is to bow to your bureaucracy. Especially when I see how wickedly corrupt it is and how the bureaucracy itself throws patsies out every chance it gets. Why? Because, well, if you see how corrupt the bureaucracy is, the whole thing would collapse. Thing works with your religion. If people actually saw how many pedophile preachers and priests were moved around for re-education instead of being thrown to the wolves, Well, they were taken in by the wolves and concealed until they could make amends for what they had done to God. Who cares about the people they did it to? They have to make amends to God because they stepped out of line. It's getting a lot easier to take down those pedophiles and those disgusting creeps. But once they do, you get attorney generals like Ken Paxton that say 6 months, pay a fine, and do some community service, maybe wear a monitor. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, conservative Christian. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of his opponent either. He does have some rather interesting takes on the Bible. Especially transgenderism. And that's the thing about spirits is spirits themselves don't have a gender, but people do. Because while he knew us before we were created, we were still created as one or the other. And that's that whole reality thing. And I would like to sit down and have an honest discussion with one of these Catholics about their beliefs in purgatory before hell. But that's for another day. Today, I'm actually getting ready to get off here and go eat something, have some more coffee, and get to work for a little while before it gets too hot to do much work at all. As I like to sign off with anymore, have the day you deserve. I love you.